The city streets bustled with life as the neon lights flickered against the backdrop of a setting sun. Among the sea of taxis, one yellow cab stood out, a testament to the hard work of its driver, Richard O'Connor. Richard had been driving his cab through the chaotic streets of New York City for over 20 years. His days were filled with the stories of passengers, from hurried business people to tourists with wide-eyed wonder. Despite the relentless grind, Richard loved his job. It kept him connected to the city he had come to cherish deeply. One chilly evening, as the city's lights began to twinkle like stars, Richard's cab came to a stop at a street corner. A young woman, no older than 20, appeared at the curb, her face a mix of frustration and confusion. She glanced around, clearly lost. Richard's keen eye noticed her hesitance, and with a practiced smile, he pulled over. "Need a ride, miss?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. The young woman looked up, her eyes reflecting a blend of relief and worry. "Yes, please," she said, stepping into the cab. "I'm really lost. I was supposed to meet a friend at a cafe, but I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere." "Don't worry," Richard said reassuringly. "Just tell me where you need to go, and we'll figure it out." She gave him the name of the cafe, which was located in a part of town Richard knew well. However, as he checked the address, it became clear that she was quite a distance from her destination. The traffic was heavy, and it would take some time to get there. As they drove through the crowded streets, the young woman introduced herself. "I'm Julia. I was visiting the city for a conference. I'm really sorry for the trouble." "No trouble at all," Richard replied. "I've had my fair share of getting lost in this city myself." Their conversation shifted from small talk to deeper discussions about their lives. Julia shared her excitement about her career and her love for the arts, while Richard spoke about his experiences as a taxi driver and his dreams of writing a book about the fascinating lives he encountered. The ride, which initially seemed like a mundane task, became a pleasant exchange of stories and laughter. When they finally reached the cafe, Julia offered to pay Richard for the ride. "I really appreciate this," she said, reaching for her purse. Richard waved her off with a smile. "No need for that. It's on the house. Just glad I could help." Julia's eyes widened in surprise. "Are you sure? I don't want to impose." "It's fine," Richard insisted. "Consider it a gift from a fellow traveler. Good luck with your conference." Julia thanked him profusely before heading into the cafe, her spirits lifted by the unexpected kindness. Richard watched her go, a feeling of contentment settling over him. It was moments like these that made his job rewarding. The following week, Richard's routine continued as usual. He navigated the city streets, picked up passengers, and shared brief encounters with strangers. It wasn't until one evening, as he was preparing to call it a day, that an envelope arrived for him at the taxi dispatch office. The envelope was embossed with a gold seal, and its contents surprised Richard. Inside was an invitation to a prestigious gala being held at one of the city's most renowned venues. The invitation was addressed to him personally, with a note that read, "Dear Mr. O'Connor, it is with great pleasure that we extend this invitation to you for an exclusive event at the Grand Hall of Elegance. Your recent act of kindness towards a young visitor to our city did not go unnoticed. We would be honored to have you join us as our guest for this special evening. The gala will celebrate the spirit of generosity and community, and we believe that your story exemplifies the very essence of these values. Please RSVP by the date provided, and we look forward to seeing you there. Sincerely, the Gala Committee." Richard was stunned. He had never attended an event of such grandeur, and the idea of being recognized for something as simple as a kind gesture was surreal. He double-checked the details to ensure it wasn't a prank. When the evening of the gala arrived, Richard found himself in a suit he had borrowed from a friend, his nerves a bundle of excitement and trepidation. The grand hall of elegance was as opulent as he had imagined, with its grand chandeliers and elegantly dressed guests, mingling with glasses of champagne. As he entered, he was greeted by members of the gala committee and escorted to a reserved table. The atmosphere was filled with an air of sophistication, and Richard felt a bit out of place among the city's elite. Just as he was getting accustomed to his surroundings, a familiar face appeared in the crowd. Julia, the young woman he had helped. She was dressed in a stunning evening gown, her smile warm as she spotted Richard. "Richard!" she exclaimed, walking over to him. "I didn't expect to see you here." Richard chuckled, feeling a mix of surprise and familiarity. "Julia, I guess we're both here for the same reason." Julia smiled and nodded. "I'm actually part of the organizing committee for this event. I wanted to personally thank you for your kindness last week. It seems your story touched a lot of people." They chatted about the event and caught up on each other's lives. Julia explained that the gala was organized to honor individuals who had made significant contributions to their communities, and Richard's act of kindness had been nominated by several of the city's residents. As the evening progressed, Richard was introduced to various dignitaries and philanthropists. The event was filled with speeches and awards, each one celebrating the spirit of giving and community. Richard listened intently, realizing that his simple gesture had resonated far beyond what he had imagined. The highlight of the evening came when Julia took the stage to deliver a speech. She spoke eloquently about the importance of compassion and how Richard's story had embodied these values. As she concluded her speech, she invited Richard to join her on stage. Richard's heart raced as he walked up to the podium, his thoughts a whirlwind of emotions. Julia handed him a small plaque that read, "In recognition of unselfish kindness and generosity, presented to Richard O'Connor." The audience applauded, and Richard felt a profound sense of humility. He thanked everyone and expressed his gratitude for being part of such a meaningful event. The night continued with dancing and mingling, and Richard found himself enjoying the company of people who shared a common commitment to making a positive impact. He reflected on how a small act of kindness had led to such an extraordinary experience. As the gala came to a close, Julia and Richard exchanged goodbyes, both grateful for the unexpected turn of events. Julia's role in the gala and her continued friendship made Richard realize that kindness had a way of coming back in the most unexpected ways. Driving home that night, Richard couldn't help but think about the journey he had been on. From a simple taxi ride to a prestigious gala, his life had been touched by the kindness he had shown to a stranger. The experience had reaffirmed his belief in the power of small gestures and the way they could ripple through the lives of others. Richard's story didn't end with the gala. He continued his work as a taxi driver, but now with a renewed sense of purpose. He found joy in the everyday interactions with his passengers, knowing that even the smallest act of kindness could make a difference. The gala had been a celebration of generosity, but for Richard, it was a reminder that every day held the potential for unexpected moments of connection and gratitude. As he drove through the city streets, he carried with him the knowledge that kindness had a way of finding its way back, sometimes in the most extraordinary of ways.